So I became the caregiver at around 26 years old. Like, so I was very young at the time. I didn't really know like what to do, like what I should prepare, for caregiving. I think it's a very universal topic. But at least in Hong Kong, this is not a topic that we frequently or commonly talked about. It's really perceived as a private family matter. So I didn't really have the education to know what to do. And I also didn't know where to find help. So there were a lot of learnings from that whole caregiving experience for my grandparents. Even though they have both passed away by now, I do hope that like what I've learned, all the lessons, from my experience can help support other caregivers in Hong Kong and make their journey less stressful and less overwhelming. Because after all, we're all growing old. Like we may, you never know, like if you may become a caregiver one day to your aging loved ones, or you may require care yourself. So I think there's something I'm very, very passionate about. But I do have to share, like it was not a very straightforward decision for me, because before I founded AgeWhale, like I worked at another social enterprise for 8 years. So I have, very, very deep bonding to that, old job. So that was an agency that helped migrant domestic workers to find jobs without any agency fees. And of course, through that process, I also observed a lot of dynamics, and the complexity of caregiving. But deciding to start my own business, that was very, very scary. So initially I was just thinking maybe I should get a job, like learn more about the industry before, I do anything drastic. But the funny thing is, I actually received one job offer and I have to make a decision whether to accept that job offer. But then that was the moment that I realized, oh, actually, I don't want to accept the job offer. Like I want to do something, that's myself, like that's for me. And because I see the gaps, in Hong Kong, and there's something I feel like I can contribute to. So I would say that's the defining moment for me is, when I have to decide on the job offer. And then I realized, yeah, no, I actually wanted to find something myself. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing, Grace. Maybe over to Nishat.
Hello everyone, I'm Nishat. I'm the co-founder of MommyKidz. I'm from Bangladesh. So MommyKidz is an anonymous platform that support every woman and parents in their journey of liberty, pregnancy, and parenting. So my journey actually, it was very much personal because when I become a mother, I realized that due to misinformation and due to the lack of healthcare access, we do a lot of mistakes, not only with ourselves, also with our children. So that time I realized from my teenage years to my motherhood, the journey, it wasn't changed anything. Everything was same. That was what I was suffering in my teenage years. After 15 years, is still the same. So that time I realized if something is not changed, so my daughter will go through the same challenges and struggle that I had faced. So that time actually I realized that we need some step, and this is why actually I started MommyKidz.
Over to Smriti.
Thanks, Aggie. I think so much of what Grace and Nishat said resonate with my experience as well. I don't think there was one defining moment, but it was always that it felt like in all of the previous roles I'd held, I wasn't building enough impact. There was always like, I come from India, and with Sakhi, what we do is we provide healthcare literacy information to expectant mothers in underserved communities that rely on the public health system. And it wasn't necessarily maternal healthcare that I wanted to work in, but it was the fact that there was this huge percentage of population in India that lacked a lot of resources. And the fact that me personally, I had had so many opportunities where I'd seen, at least in the advancement of technology, what the capabilities were, and the fact that there was like this missing gap to what technology can serve for this audience. And I think one thing that I always did not like was the way private industries operate and public industries operate. There is a gap there. And I feel like that gap can be solved by social entrepreneurship as a vehicle, where you're creating a sustainable way to solve the social problem. So that was my sort of larger vision coming into it. And then along the way, something happened in my family that was very drastic, which then became my personal calling. And then that's what ended up being into maternal healthcare. But I feel like it was a couple of different small things. And the most important one being that I wanted to be responsible for bringing impact to a larger scale than I would if I was doing anything else.
Thank you all for sharing. I think I heard a lot of times impact, and the problems that all of you have been through inspire you to do something for others as well. So my next question for you is, in your experience, how do gender norms impact women entrepreneurs? And what societal shift that would help create a more inclusive entrepreneurship ecosystem based on, you know, your experience running your initiative and your experience of meeting stakeholders? Let's start with Grace.
Sure. So yeah, I think it's very interesting, like how I think all three of us, like we share the same kind of passion, like for caregiving. But I also see how that, you know, sometimes can be like a potential hurdle, like for some of us. Because I think globally it's not surprising that the majority of unpaid care work is carried out by women. I think the latest figure is like 75% of unpaid work are done by women. So you can imagine, you know, when women entrepreneurs have to juggle caregiving, you know, and the very demanding job as an entrepreneur, that can be very challenging. So I do hope that, you know, if there could be more equal share like of you know, care work among men and women, to allow more women entrepreneurs to better balance the work and their family life. And then I think the other kind of mindset change that would be helpful. Like for me personally, I think like as an entrepreneur and also a female, like sometimes I do compare myself like to my male peers, and I do see maybe there's some difference like in our confidence, like in, you know, accessing capital, like in, you know, talking about our ambitions and business plans. Because I think in a way, like there's still this gender norm that like, oh, like women, we're supposed to be more humble, like we shouldn't brag. So I think that is something I been working on. But I think overall, like in a society, like how we also see confidence in women not as some like a weakness, but as, you know, something that we should encourage. And I think that may, you know, hopefully help like encourage like more women to take on this entrepreneurial journey.
Thank you, Grace, for sharing on the theme of confidence. Maybe over to Nishat.
So Grace covered it really a good way, that the caregiving burden. And also sometimes it like I do not know when I last sit down to see Netflix and my movie time. Everything is lost with family responsibility, business responsibility. So it's exhausting, sometimes frustrating, and also sometimes I feel guilty that maybe I'm not giving proper time to my children. So this is something that actually hamper our work life also. And the gender bias in funding, I must say that when it is led by women organization, the funding become very challenging. But when it is like created by women and designed for women, the bias become more stronger even. So in many developing countries or developed undeveloped countries, women do not have that much purchasing power. So they depend mostly on male members. So building a market for them is slow. So the investor, they do not get it more interesting to fund in those sectors that is actually solely focusing on female users. So it becomes a big barrier. So for me, I think there should be some program that help women like for more grant opportunities and also for easier access to impact investments, because as investors are not that much that much open to invest in female led organization, it will help women mostly. And also when we will get more grant opportunity, when 3 or 4 women will come forward with a great achievement, then investor will get more trust on female founder again. So this is something I think we should do.
Thanks for flagging out the importance of impact capital. Next, Smriti.
I think they've said it, both the confidence piece and the capital piece. If I was just to add one more thing, I think it's the fact that in a lot of different spaces, leadership style is questioned. Like personally for me, in one of my very earliest board meetings, I generally prefer to have my team speak up when we're talking about their components, like my CTO talk when he's talking about it. But that was questioned because it was seen as though I did not command enough power in the room, which is not exactly true. So I think these notions of how a leader must appear, which is a typical male CEO that you would see, that needs to change. And I think secondly, more internally, I feel like ambition on a woman is given a really bad name. And in a lot of different spaces, your personality is cast as, oh, she's rude because this is what she's demanding, or she's soft because this is not what she's demanding. So I think that judgment layer needs to kind of come down, because we don't place the same barriers when we're looking at like male leaders.
Thank you so much, Smriti, for sharing on how women take space, lead themselves and others in the context. I think a lot of different countries, they have different culture norms and gender norms. And for women entrepreneurs who run business, they might need to, stand up for themselves and take space and own space for them to do their own things. So next question I have for you is, there's a lot of many women-led business focus on social impact, just like all of you are doing. So why do you think women entrepreneurs are drawn to purpose-driven ventures? So maybe just use 1 or 2 sentences to share, from your point of view, what's the most important. Start with you, Grace.
Yeah, it's a really hard question. I have to reflect a bit, why is that? Like, are we just innately more caring and loving to the planet and to everyone? But I think the other thing is also maybe, I think like for female founders, like we're newer to the game, like in comparison to the male peers. So I feel like in a way, in a positive light, like we do have a bit more flexibility. Like we don't have to chase, the money only. Like we can do something, that's sustainable but also impactful, and we have a bit more kind of room like to decide for ourselves like what kind of business like we want to build. And I think for a lot of male entrepreneurs, they may feel the competition, with the other peers, that they have to, make the most money and all that. So that's my 2 cents.
Over to you, Nishat.
Actually, having Azan here. After that, I maybe after Smriti, maybe.
Yeah, I actually think that there are a lot of gaps with how, like, I think all 3 of our businesses are in areas where women most likely suffer. So I think it's because more often than not, the implications of these social gaps are borne by women, either like at childhood or through youth or through pregnancy or as you age and you grow older. I think it's because we personally have experienced the implications of our problems is why we tend to create businesses that are more impact oriented.
So before anything else, I think we should celebrate and we should clap for ourselves that there is a growing global shift towards social responsible business, and we women, we are actually leading this movement very gracefully. So that thing is, I think that we women, we actually face those social challenges firsthand. We face challenges in funding, leadership opportunities, career advancement, and any kind of business when we create it, it become very tough for us. So this is why we actually try to offer mentorship, healthcare, and financial solutions to other women so that we can solve those problems.
Thank you all so much for sharing. And before I let you go, I have last questions. So as you all know, we have 150 plus new participants in the 2025 program. So what kind of advice would you give to entrepreneurs about accessing mentorship, network, and capital from your experience?
Yeah, I can start first. Yeah. So yeah, I would say, you know, the networking and mentorship, like they were really critical, like to my personal journey. Particularly, I was the only founder, like, of my social enterprise. So I rely a lot, like, on volunteers, you know, on my mentors, on supporters, to help guide me and provide advice and practical support. Yeah, and I think, you know, having that wide network and mentors who are really your ambassador, who you know, say like good things and connect you with other potential funders, that really helped me to lay a strong foundation, like when I apply for funding, when I apply for grants. So I would say, you know, the first 6 months, like after I founded AgeWhale, I did spend quite a lot of time going to different events, you know, joining different mentorship programs. They may not, like, you may feel like, oh, like I'm not doing the real work, or you may not be kind of seeing results immediately from those events, but at least from my experience, they do come, like the return, like on the time that I spend is very, very high. So I highly recommend, you know, like putting in that that time, and I think that having that inspiration, you know, from other mentors and from other fellows entrepreneurs, those are all very important elements, like to increase our chance for success, like in our entrepreneurial journey. Yeah.
Nishat?
So as Grace was mentioning about mentorship, I would like to mention about the funding. So do not agree with every kind of everything an investor imposes on you, because the opportunities is limited. First of all, you should go to see that the investor is respecting your ideas, if he is respecting your vision, or if he is giving proper value to you. And getting VC or angel investor is not the last thing you have. You can go for the grant opportunity. You can, as I always go to Aggie, if any problem happen or anything support I need, you can ask to Aggie for the crowdfunding options. Everything you need, you can go to the collab support channel. They will help you. So look for other funding opportunities too. Yes.
Over to Smriti.
Wow, I think when you're looking at mentorship and when you're looking at peers, there are no stupid questions. Every question is a valid question. If you're starting out, you feel like there are so many things you don't know. There were so many things I was uncertain about when Sakhi started. But just asking people that had done it before me about how they'd done it and what challenges I was facing, and then asking for help. Just opening up and being like, this is what I'm struggling with. This is what I need for you. Can you make it happen? Just being bold and putting yourself out there. You might hear 1,000 or like 100 no's and a single yes, but that, like, don't take it personally, but ask your peers and ask your mentors for support and ask for specific things to help you. If you need money, ask for money is one of the things I tell myself. Don't, figure out a way to do it. It's not wrong to go and ask people, this is how much funding I want to raise. How can you support me? Because it's important. So I think those will be my 2 bits.
Wow, very strong messages. So thank you all so much for sharing. Before we end up the session today, I want to thank you so much for taking time joining this panel. And if you can, feel free to share a link in the chat, the participants and cohort can also follow your journey after this session. And thank you all so much for, being a strong female entrepreneurs as a model and share your inspirations. Especially Smriti, thank you so much for joining so late. And for the next part of the session, we'd love to invite all of you to share your feedback form. Let me reshare my screen again. So we'll have a feedback form that we'd love to hear your experience, feedback on the session. We'll do this on very frequent basis after every session we're doing. So I just post the link in the chat. Feel free to click the link and share your feedback for the session. And we'll incorporate this feedback in your in our future programming as well. So before we send you to the breakout room for a short introduction and introduce your work to other participants, we are inviting Jay back to take the group photo again, because we have some participants join later who might not be in the group photo earlier. So if you can, feel free to open your camera and let's do the group photo again.
Yes. Hi, everyone. It's me again. All right. So we will take another group photo, right? Just to commemorate again after the whole session, before we go into the breakout room to learn a bit more about each other. Let's take a group photo. Right. Let's do a quick one. All right. Let's do a heart shape. How about that? Like everyone can do the same. Well, lovely finger heart shape. All right, so please keep it there. I'll take a few photos together with Cynthia as well. All right, keep it there. Ready? 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3. Oh, lovely. I love your smile. Keep it up, everyone. Okay, well done. All right, got your photos. But for now, we will be going to the breakout room. So I will pass back to Aggie to explain what we're gonna do in the breakout room. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry. So we'll do a quick breakout room. In the breakout room, feel free to open your mic. I understand some of you might be shy, but feel free to share about what you're working on and throughout the program, what kind of support you might need. And how do you see, in the next few months, how do you want to grow your initiative? So I will kindly invite Cynthia to open the breakout rooms. We'll have maybe 45 minutes for each one of you. Okay, the breakout room is open now. We'll come back in a few minutes.